Hello everybody, welcome back to Sunday Berries. Today I am doing a second round for Michael Harding Colors. And the reason why is because I was super nervous and super excited. And I think everything sort of went half and half, good and bad. And I really truly want to explore these colors. One of the things, and I truly believe this, and was mentioned by one of my subscribers, is that it takes a little bit of time to get used to the amount of pigment that these colors have. And another subscriber told me that she would like to see those colors, at least the diluted version, a little bit more translucent or transparent because of the high pigment load these colors have. My diluted versions were a little bit heavy on color. So we're going to try to do this in my sketchbook this time around. And let's take a look at these colors up close, personal, and hopefully in a more controlled light. Needless to say, these colors are amazing. I've already said it in my previous video, and I'm going to link that right here with a card so you can watch that video and then come back to this one and watch it again, because really this is a smaller format than the other one, but we're going to try and get this right. So are we ready? The first one is Hansa Yellow Medium, and this is a mastone. And as you can see, this one is not as undiluted as the first video, but so this one is a little bit more clear. And there we have it, the diluted version. Here we go. It is gorgeous. And still, this is very saturated. Turner's Yellow Mastone. And I hope that even though this is in a smaller scale, that you can see and really enjoy these colors. There we have it, diluted. Oh, maybe I'm diluting them too much right now, but this one is looking gorgeous and quite breathtaking at the same time. There we go. Now they look a lot more delicate than the previous swatch, which was all pigment. Now we're going to look at Quinacridone Rose. And this color is a gorgeous color, and I think that people who love botanicals and painting nature, particularly flowers, this color is a must-have. Diluted version. You can see how clear these colors are. They are absolutely gorgeous. this is a great example on the fact that how pigmented these colors are, because even that diluted version, it's still powerful enough. Corinthian purple, and this is a mass stone. I'm hoping. It can go even darker than this. Actually, let me just show you a true mass stone here. Belladonna mass stone. And diluted version. Perylene violet. This one is so dark as a mass stone. It's just incredible. And I do love the pearlines. This is the diluted version. Ultramarine blue. This swatch is turning out to be quite relaxing. This is the Prussian blue. And this one too can go quite darker. Oops. This is the Prussian blue diluted. This is perylene green mass stone. Which can go pretty darker than this. It's just that I'm using a little bit more water on this swatches than I originally did. And diluted version. French yellow ochre mass stone, which I don't know if I'm getting a true mass stone here, but we're working it out. diluted version. Burnt sienna, mastone, and diluted version. So I think that the capacity of these colors to be in a tonal range that is incredible is actually mind-blowing, because they are so pigmented. You can actually do a real scale in value of each color. Cinquation maroon, mastone, diluted. Oh, this is quite beautiful in a really diluted version. Earth of Cyprus, mastone. And again, these are not true mastones because I'm not giving the full strength of the color on these. I'm going a little bit lighter, but they can give you the idea of how dark this can go and how a mid-range can be, because in comparison this would be like a mid-range, and how light they can go. And this is the diluted version. Which Pam Tuggle from Follow My Brush said looked like chocolate, and I agree. And this is Moonlight, which is the most interesting color of them all, because this one actually splits, and I'm hoping that we can achieve that. So I am going to add water before I start the diluted version, but this one is just crazy beautiful. I'm going to add a little bit of water here, like half of it, and diluted version. And let's hope for it to split, because this one splits really nicely. So we're going to allow this to dry, and we're going to work on the next page and probably see what we can achieve with these colors. But at least you can see in a better light what these colors really look like. I think that when I did the first swatch, I was completely going nuts with the amount of pigments, and Pam Toggle actually was right. It's very hard to get adjusted to the amount of pigment these colors have. And even now, I am still trying to get used to the load of pigment that these colors really do have. And so we're going to do something a little bit impromptu, I guess, and on the next page, so we can take a look at these colors. All right, so let's leave them to dry, and I will start with the next part of the video. All right, so here we are. The colors are completely dry now, and as you can see, the colors are absolutely beautiful. They do not look like my first swatch, the initial swatch, you will be able to see the colors really in their mass tone glory, where it's completely packed with pigment. However, the diluted versions here are more visible because in the original, they came out more like a mid range of dilution, not a fully diluted version. However, you have to understand that some of these colors are high staining, are medium staining, are low staining. However, the only ones that are non-staining are Corinthian purple and belladonna. So when you try to lift this color, you will have an easier time to lift it up. But the other ones range from low staining to medium staining. Even the ultramarine is a medium staining color, so what that means is that the paper will be stained. So it's not going to be shining through as other colors would, the non-staining ones. And even the yellow ochre that looks very diluted, and it seems as if you can see the white of the paper. This one is a low staining color, so probably what we're seeing is actually the stain because it's that diluted. And in terms of the burnt sienna, this is a transparent color, however, it is high staining. So you have to understand that when it is high staining, it's going to be harder to lift, and not always you will be able to see the white of the paper, because as you can see here, you are actually seeing that stain. So basically you're painting by staining the paper. So I promised we were going to do something interesting with these colors. So what I'm hoping to do is probably a little bit of a mix just to see what colors we can get from the others. We're going to see what this color can do. So at the same time that I am doing this, I'm trying to add a little bit more pigment towards the bottom. And let's hope that this is going to pay off. I am going to use some sea salt. Just to see what happens, to be quite honest. Okay, so I think I want to mix the quinacridone rose and Turner's yellow. What I'm looking for is art combinations that are quite unusual. So hopefully this will be different colors. And as you can see, the Turner's yellow is quite present in this mix. This one came out quite nice. And as you can see, we can lift a little bit of the color. Just to see what happens. So we are going to add a little bit of water here. And now we're going to check out the Corinthian Purple and the Quinacridone Rose. And this came out quite interesting as well. It's not I would like to see the Perylene Green and the Turner's Yellow again. Let's try Cinquesia and Ultramarine. Let's try the Earth of Cyprus and Turner's Yellow. This one came out almost like a French ochre. Let's try Ultramarine Blue and Hansa Yellow Medium. Let's try a Turner's Yellow and the Prussian Blue. And this one came out like a very nice turquoise. Quite beautiful. Okay, now we're going to do Moonlight and Queen Rose. This is going to be Moonlight and Belladonna. Ooh, this combination is quite interesting so far. Burnt sienna and perylene green. Quinacridone rose and burnt sienna. Ooh, this one reminds me of English red. This next one is Moonlight and wow, and Turner's Yellow. Because Moonlight has Viridian green, so this is not surprising. Not in the least. This next one up, it's going to be Yellow Ochre and Quinacridone Rose. Beautiful, this looks vintage. Perylene Violet and Ultramarine Blue right here. Prussian Blue and Perylene Violet. And to this one, we are going to add some let's leave that one there. Some sea salt. So this one is going to be Hansa Yellow Medium with Airs of Cyprus. Let's create some browns. Belladonna and Hansa Yellow Medium. This one is Perylene Violet with Turner's Yellow, and it's splashing all the way. So there will be some cross-contamination. And this one is Hansa Yellow Medium and Quinacridone Rose. Of course, the Hansa Yellow Medium would be the start of the show. Ultramarine and burnt sienna. Here we go. Beautiful brown. And we're going to add a little bit salt here and see what happens. So we're going to allow this to dry and we'll talk about it. And we're back. These are the really quick mixes that I've done with the Michael Harding colors, and right now I'm thinking that I'm going to stop worrying about the time or the length of the videos. I'd rather do this less in a rush than rushing it and having it look like this. However, this came out really nice and we achieved some really nice colors, and I also use salt. So as you can see, they are still here. I only used in some of them, but we are going to remove them right now because this is quite, ooh. Oops. I've never used salt before, but I just wanted to see what would happen. And I don't even know if you can reuse the salt. This one is quite interesting because Moonlight has Viridian in it, and what you can see here underneath is that Viridian. I will try to do a close-up. The mix between the Turner's Yellow and the Quinacridone Rose created this beautiful orange. It's very antique looking, quite lovely as a matter of fact. The Corinthian Purple and the Quinacridone Rose also made a really nice purple, and the Perylene Green and the Turner's Yellow created a really nice, also kind of vintage antique green color. Now this Cinquation Maroon plus the Ultramarine created an effect that is really mind-blowing, because there is the separation that we can see on the Moonlight, but then you can also see that ultramarine gathering in certain areas. So although Moonlight already has ultramarine, the way this separated is quite interesting, because instead of seeing the Viridian, we are seeing here a little gathering of that ultramarine plus that Viridian, I suppose, but it's mostly violet and it traveled really well. And the Earth of Cyprus and the Turner's Yellow created a beautiful beige color, very sandy for those seashores, even pebbles. So this is a very beautiful color for example, seascapes, and also even for forest work in terms of giving highlights to, let's say, the trunk of trees and such things. The ultramarine plus the Hansa Yellow Medium, of course, is going to create a green, and this green is quite beautiful. Then we are moving on to the Turner's Yellow and the Prussian Blue, which created a very interesting vintage looking color, but could be also said that it looks like a pastel color. It's a very light blue, and of course if you add more then you're going to get a more intensity. The Moonlight and the Queen Rose, we get a very quieted down quinacridone rose when we add that Moonlight with it. And we can also see some signs of that Moonlight in the granulation here and how it pushes amounts of the quinacridone rose towards the corners. Really interesting. Now, Moonlight with Belladonna, beautiful. And you can see here a gathering of that Viridian green, and what happened was that the violet became a little bit stronger, overtaking that Viridian. And so this is a very nice purple as well. Burnt sienna and perylene green created this beautiful color that actually reminds me of another, and I just can't place the name, but it is a brown green. It can work, for example, drying leaves. It can work for barks and tree trunks. It can work for many things, but it is a beautiful earthy brown. I would say earthy brown green or green brown. It's really, it has both of them flowing there. Very, very beautiful. The quinacridone rose and the burnt sienna created this beautiful, also antique color. I mean, it's quite beautiful. It's quite subtle. I find it really interesting. And the Moonlight with Turner's Yellow, also another almost vintage color. It's that kind of like a sage green. This is very much a sage green, and I love it. I love that combination of Moonlight and Turner's Yellow. And you are probably asking why I used Moonlight so much, and the reason why it's that I find that color completely different from any color I've ever seen before. The next one here also turns to be like a vintage color or even a pastel color. It can work both ways. It's French Yellow Ochre and Quinacridone Rose. I find it really beautiful. It's almost the color of my logo. And then here we have the Perylene Violet and Ultramarine Blue. And what's beautiful about this is actually the granulation it achieved. And I did add a little, well, actually this piece of salt just fell there, and I'm going to remove it. And as you can see, underneath it is the ultramarine blue quite clearly. So the perylene violet actually overtakes the ultramarine blue, but you can still see that ultramarine blue coming through that granulation. The next one is Prussian blue and perylene violet, which would be the difference between the two blues that I do have. And I did add some salt, and we're going to go ahead and remove it. And I find it funny what the salt does to watercolors. The effect is quite interesting. I don't know if I like it, but it was worth trying. It's my very first time trying it, and I find it quite interesting. I think that in this case as well, we can see that Prussian blue and that perylene violet coming together to create another maybe a darker blue, but you can see almost pinkish tones to it, and also very, very dark deposits of that perylene violet which remain there. Very interesting, in my opinion, how the salt just separates or gather, or the stronger pigment maybe gathers just underneath that salt. Very interesting. I also want to know whether or not you can reuse the salt again once it's been used. Let me know in the comments, because I really have no idea. The Hansa Yellow Medium and the Earth of Cyprus created this beautiful yellow, and it's almost a Turner's yellow, but with a more brown tone to it, and it's quite interesting and beautiful. It works really well for certain florals, I think, and I think it comes really handy, this mix. And for browns, we have the Belladonna plus the Hansa Yellow Medium, which is actually quite a beautiful brown color. It feels very warm. While, for example, this burnt sienna and perylene green, it's more cool. And that's quite actually even neutral. Quite interesting, but you can see them together and they actually go pretty well. These three here, it's quite the combination. The perylene violet and Turner's yellow just created this violet that it's also quite antique. I feel that Turner's yellow, because it has a hint of like a beige, it's a bright yellow and very warm, but it actually acts as if it was a beige, or for example buff titanium, and I think it aged this color beautifully. And the Hansa Yellow Medium and the Quinacridone Rose, of course, is going to create a orange, but I wanted the Hansa Yellow Medium to be stronger than the Quinacridone Rose, and for some reason it just created a beautiful orange that has quite the ability to be diluted into different colors. Quite beautiful. And the last one is ultramarine plus burnt sienna and salt. So we're going to remove the salt right now. And again, I don't know if I like this effect, but it is quite interesting. So now that I've removed it, looks like there was still a little bit of wetness there, or it wasn't completely dried. So you can see that burnt sienna coming out here. But the combination of ultramarine creates a very interesting dual tone granulation. And again, I'm not sure if I like it, so but at least I can say that I tried it. So what I'm gonna do is show you these colors up close so you can see what I was telling you about. So, like I said, for the next mixing that I want to do, which I want to do a whole mixing of these colors eventually, that it really makes sense and that we can really see the potential of all these colors together. I want to take my time. I can't promise my videos will be super short because I really do want to explore a lot more of the colors that I do already have and not just let them in a swatch. I want to share how I experiment with things. For example, now we've done for the very first time the salt, and that's quite interesting to me. I love mixing colors, so I find that I want to do this more, but in a structured way. So we'll see how we can work with those things. And so we have here the spread with the new swatch for our subscriber who wanted to see the colors in a lighter way for the diluted versions, and then we did a little bit of extra experimentation. But I'm going to try to, like I said, I'm going to try to make it a little bit nicer the next time. So for now, this is what I've got. I hope you enjoyed it. So until the next video, please take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.